Now, you all may already know that AI is reshaping business like crazy. But what you might not know is that you are leaving so much money on the table. And in this episode, we dive deep into how to grab some of these other opportunities that AI is just begging us to take advantage of so that we can make more money in our business. Rob and I are going to cover a couple of things. We're going to cover how AI obviously is reshaping your business in a very specific way. Then we talk about how AI can help you create some smarter business strategies. And then there's this one specific tool that we're using that can help you create in your business like a boss. Trust me when I say this, it is incredible. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Randy Outerbridge. I'm a part of the Two Business Guys Mastermind. I run some other channels as well. But in this particular one, we really help you get after how you can make more money using different tools, whether it's hi-fi, lo-fi, AI tools, so that you can go out there and just do it faster, do it better, and beat your competition. That's what we want you to do, beat your competition. If you want to like, subscribe to the channel, go ahead. But in the meantime, let's dive into this episode. This is a good one. We'll see you inside. This right here, Rob, in my opinion, is crazy because AI is making us question everything. So what I did was I put some ideas of traditional business concepts. I put it in a visual format to see if they still stand. Let's go through some of these, man, and see if from your perspective, and then let's bring in how AI is just gonna like smash the idea. All right, so here's the first thing. When they talk about business management hierarchy, first thing they say is, well, you got to manage day-to-day business activities. Let's
Hmm.
now introduce AI to just that concept. Do we have to manage day-to-day activities anymore?
So I think that to the point, yes, we still have to manage them. I think the big question is the how. And I like where you're going. I've been on the AI bandwagon since for the past couple of years. That's why I went and got a certification. That's why I went and studied and figured out how to build these things. And now with agents, brother, like there's a couple of podcasts that I've been watching recently that are talking about all the types of jobs that are going away because of AI. And the thing that I think a lot of people, because it's that the negative stuff, that leads, right? If it bleeds, it leads. People get scared of the jobs that are going to go away because of AI. But the coolest piece to me is the jobs that it's going to create because of AI. Because the
Yeah.
AI still needs humans to prompt it. It still needs humans to decide whether it's good enough, right? Quality control, all the rest of that type of stuff. And it's going to create a space where all of those skills that we were like, why am I learning this in school? Why do I need to figure this stuff out? Are actually going to have reasons and going to make people really good at this type of stuff because you have to think for the event. I think one of the things that we've been talking about in my space is that AI is going to make the average person in business have to be better at leading people or at
Mm.
leading in general. Because part of leading is clearly communicating objectives so that people can easily arrive at that objective. And what has been happening in the marketplace is that workers have been becoming much more productive
Mhm.
because they're filling in the gaps and filling in the holes of bad systems. And that's going to shift because the AI isn't going to get more productive just because, it's supposed to. The AI is going to get more productive because the person prompting the AI is
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
productive, is more clear, is more able to articulate themselves properly.
I agree. I think when we talk about managing day-to-day operations and activities, I think we have a very good opportunity to just bring that down to like 10 minutes, right? And
Mhm.
then, there are some that I've been following as well that are just killing the game. N8N, you can go into N8N and just put in some do this, do that, do this, right? And it will
Mhm.
do an amazing job. N8N is a little bit difficult to get your mind around though. But anyway, what about this one? Developing long-term business strategies. I'm using Perplexity right now. And everybody, if you're listening to this and you haven't used Perplexity, let's just stop. Google is Google is becoming the Blockbuster and Kodak of the industry,
Mhm.
right? They're trying to catch up using their stuff, but I mean just Googling things. I now build strategies using Perplexity and just quizzing it a lot. And then I may take those strategies and put it into another one to then build something, depending on if I want to use 4.0 because I want some images or ChatGPT 4.0. What are your thoughts on this one? Developing long-term business strategy. Can we even do that? Long term? What is that like? 5 days?
Yeah. I think that, in strategy in general, it's more, again, I think AI is going to be, I'm already using it. I've seen other people already using it. What it does and what it can be for the individual, you can do strategic thinking and kind of strategic back and forth with AI
Hmm.
right now. One
Hmm.
of the things that I love to do is I will, go into ChatGPT and I'll say, hey, I'm thinking about doing XYZ. What are some of the questions that I need to be thinking about in the next 12 to 24 months that need to get answered? And it will, right? And you can go through and say, imagine you are a imagine you are a business consultant from a big four consulting firm. It can be imagine you are a recruiting consultant. You can do all those types of things, and it will give you a bunch of questions that you can answer, a bunch of things you can do, and then you can say, okay, answer those questions as if you're me, right? You can prime it to be you. There's so much stuff that you can do with it. I think in developing long-term business strategies, it's gonna it's already in my business with my clients. Like one of the things that I do with my VIP day is we go through and I help my clients to develop long-term vision articulation
Hmm.
using AI. So they do a lot of the base work and a lot of
Hmm.
the initial brainstorming, initial thinking, and then they put it in the AI after teaching it about themselves properly so that it can write.
Yeah.
And, you know, the number of times I've heard people be like, this is uncanny how much it sounds like me is is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have that as a an opportunity too. Look at this one. Grasping the challenges and opportunities. Here's one of the things that I do, and I want you all to listen to this. And of course, if you hear something you like the channel, send the channel out to all kind of other people. We want you to watch this to the end because listen, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to go through this whole list and we're going to be just dropping gold nuggets all over the place. So go ahead and watch it all the way to the end. It gets even better. But Rob, when I think about this right here, I'm sitting there with, and I use probably 5 to 6 different AIs a day to do
Mhm,
different things, to answer different questions, to check on some other AIs and stuff like that. And now I
mhm,
may prompt it to say, okay, here's one of my favorite prompts to put in. I'll say something like this. And if you're listening, everybody, either record this session or this part of it or write it down. Is I'll say, yeah, what you just told me is generic. Everybody's doing that. I says, what I
mhm.
would like you to do is reach across industry and niches and come up with something that is familiar, but not in the context that you will be creating for me next. And it does an amazing job. And then the last thing I say is now tell it to me like I'm in the 5th grade.
Mhm.
Right. And it comes up with some really cool stuff. So when I think about this business management hierarchy and I'm quizzing whether or not these things still apply, you'd be surprised they do still apply. AI is just going to present them to you faster, give you a roadmap to get there. But this is what I'm finding, Rob. Even though we've got the tool, people still aren't doing the thing it tells them to do.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're
Opportunity.
100%.
Y'all hearing
Yeah,
that? Opportunity. So let's go to this
yeah.
next one. Here is something that we talk about a lot: startups, starting
Mhm,
a business,
mhm,
and whether or not people are understanding the challenges and opportunities that come with launching a business. Just like it says here,
mhm.
preparing, market research.
Yeah,
What say you?
this is where again, like you just talked about, this is where Google is getting competed heavily with Perplexity and other search engine tools like this. Because now instead of going to Google and asking it a question and saying, for example, what are the companies that are in this niche, or what are the things that are here, or what is the average labor cost for yada yada yada, and then having to sort through and sift through all the answers. I just did this the other day with one of my other clients in the restaurant industry. We went to Perplexity and it was like, okay, for a restaurant in this region of this size in this particular type of food service, what's the average uh, team size for a
Hmm.
restaurant
Hmm.
in this
Hmm.
size? And they were like, well, for you got this size, you got this size, you got this size, you got this size. It's like, okay, this company. And so what's the average amount that we want to be spending for labor? And they were like, well, the average is here because you're in this state, is here. All of that information went
That's
into an entire strategic plan of how are we going to grow from X to Y and how are we going to do all that. And it was literally 20 minutes of internet searching,
yeah.
but internet searching assisted by AI.
And in the hands of a skilled practitioner, you and I are skilled. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's just everything because we can discern and interpret. Now look at this one.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I think is an opportunity. So listen, listeners, if you're listening to this, you can't see what I'm showing on screen, but if you're watching this, take a look at this. The emotional preparedness still something people aren't doing, and there's an opportunity because what
Oh,
AI is going to
definitely.
do is going to give you the how. It's going to give you some what's, but it's still going to be looking at you like, are you going to do it? This right here is,
Exactly.
my opinion, a gold mine opportunity for you to be like the spotter in a gym. Help people
Mhm.
get to the point where they go.
Now, here's the funny thing. If you are the person that's struggling, what you can do with AI, this is what I love about it. You can go in and say, okay, I've tried to do this thing 4 times. Let's say I've tried to lose weight 4 times. And this time I stopped because of this. And this time I stopped because of this. And this time I stopped because of this. This time I stopped because of this. Give me a plan. Well, first, what's the obstacle? When you look at the reasons why I'm not able to be successful, what do you
Mhm,
see?
mhm.
And it can walk it down and tell you, right? And it doesn't have any of the kind of emotional issues about telling you the truth or anything. It's going to tell you exactly what it sees. But then the beauty of it is you can then say, all right, create me a plan
Yeah,
that
yeah,
will help me overcome exactly what I'm dealing with. Right.
yeah.
It's revolutionizing things because it has at its disposal all of the information that you need to answer your question. And it has the ability to not get distracted by 50 thoughts at once, like we do a lot of times when we're trying to do strategy. And then we think about this and we think about this and we think about this. It'll go and answer the question that you ask.
That part. So then the again, the opportunity becomes for somebody to say, hey, you've got AI, that's fine. But I have the thing that's going to help you apply the tools,
Mm-hmm,
right? That
mm-hmm,
becomes it. So, okay, let's go to this next one. You had, when we were talking about, I think there was a very popular book that you like. Now, how are we going to be using AI as it relates to books on personal development, business strategy? Now, I got a very specific thing that I do, and it's a
mm-hmm.
little in the gray area, but I'll talk about that later. So, what would you do? Personal development, books to enhance personal skill and growth for business success.
Mm-hmm. I think, this is for those of you all that are out there, right? First of all, you're already using this. You just don't know what you are. When you log into Amazon or when you log into Audible, this is exactly what's happening. When it's giving you recommended books, it's looking at what you read before and is recommending books based on your taste, based on your demographics, based on your buying history, based on all the rest of that type of stuff. It is giving you the best recommendations for you, right? Whether it's personal development, business strategy, or management. The key is for you to be on the side of being able to tell it the real things that it needs to tell. Because right now, it's skewed towards what Amazon wants and
Huh.
what's important to Amazon. It's not skewed towards what's important to you. But you can set up these types of filters where you're having AI look at for you what types of books you should be reading based on the preferences, based on the problems you're trying to solve, based on the growth that you're trying to have. Like one of the things I do with my clients, we do, and I got this from Vishen Lakiani over at Mind Valley. It's called 3 MIQ, three most important questions. And one of those questions is where do you want to grow? And so my clients will make right a list of places that they want to grow. You can then input that into AI and say, I want to grow in these areas. What are
Yep.
3 books that I should read? And what are the next 3 books I should read if I want to grow in these areas and this is what's most important to me to grow first. And it can literally help you to figure that stuff out. I think that it's, again, I'm biased. I think I'm an AI fan. I'm not worried about it taking over the world or anything like that, because at the end of the day, there's got to be people involved.
Yeah.
And
And I'm going to give you some gray area stuff. Y'all ready? So here it comes. So if this thing is in any way in a PDF format,
Mhm.
then I'm loading it up. I'm loading it up and I'm saying, so yeah, don't be telling on me. But I'm loading it up and I'm saying, hey, I want you to act as Michael Gerber. I just loaded up the PDF. I want you to pull the very best of what he's talking about. I want you to interpret it a certain way because I want to grow personally. Now, I want you to apply the business tools and tips and tricks that he talks about here in this particular context.
Oh, I see. Like allowing it to be your Cliff Notes and coach.
Yes. Yes. Like I
So
say, if and
yeah.
I do it that way, and sometimes now that we can do images, so I'll take a snip of a section that I thought, oh, that's so good, right? And then I'd say I load it up to, in this case, I'll use it, or I'll use Perplexity. I'll load it up and I says, take this section, look at this section right here.
Mhm.
And I'd like to apply this in a different format. So now I'm looking at it and saying, here's the principles that they just laid out. Awesome, dope. So that we don't plagiarize and all that kind of stuff, right? And we're
Mhm.
kind of
Mhm.
utilizing from that perspective. And then I
Yeah.
says, now, based on this, tell me how I should do this.
Mhm.
So that's how you start looking at it, right? We look at businesses as the business books as a foundation, but we're going to quiz them now. We're going to inquire with
Mhm.
them. It's like you have that brain right there for you, or you have the interpretation of it so that you can apply the principles in a very real way, real world way.
Exactly.
Okay, here's another one.
Exactly.
This is the one I really liked. I actually took a image of this and I used it in a newsletter. So building a successful business, right? Foundational stuff. Identify core components that contribute to a thriving business, such as a strong value proposition. I literally, y'all, asked AI, does this still apply? And the AI, the response surprised me. It said, yes, they do. And then it
Mhm.
expanded on, how, why thrives a business. The ultimate goal of a business is that you have one that succeeds. Here's why. And then it gave me some statistics that we already know. Businesses fail at this rate. Then it talked about these foundational elements. I said, pull this out, talk about these, expand on them, right?
Mhm.
Value proposition. Why? What are we doing? And do we have
Mhm.
to have a strong value proposition still? And it was like, well, yeah, of course, because it agreed for the most part with everything here. And that was so good. Now,
Mhm.
this next one, Rob, what we expect from businesses,
Mhm.
right? I can tell
Mhm.
you I'm an unrealistic business goaler.
Mhm.
Is I'll say to the business, you got 30 days to make me 30K. And
Mhm.
business looks and says, what? Anyway, right? What do you say about number one, setting achievable goals, which I cannot stand, but whatever. Why should we? I just can't.
Yeah, no,
Smart goals.
there's
Ugh.
right. There's a lot of science behind setting achievable goals, because at the end of the day, right? Otherwise, you gaslighting yourself. And a lot of people are like, "But you're supposed to aim high. You're supposed to shoot for the
Right.
moon. And if you fail, you land in the stars." It's like yes and no. The people that shoot for the moon, you have to actually believe you could get to the moon. Otherwise, you
You
never
have a
get started.
rocket, sir. Yes, that part.
Exactly, right? Like, and so the key thing is it doesn't have to be, and I don't like realistic goals, but achievable, right? There's a difference between possible and impossible. I don't like the idea of setting impossible goals. Setting possible goals is awesome, because then you just talk to yourself about how hard it is to get there, and then you move forward. Now, there's a time and a place for everything. Sometimes you have to set an impossible goal, but you have to understand that you're in that type of situation. Like this ain't no situation where you just sitting back and saying, you know what, I'm going to set this impossible goal. No, that's not how it works. When you're setting an impossible goal, normally, external circumstances are forcing you to set this impossible goal, and therefore your why is strong enough to overcome whatever the obstacles are. And you just thought it was impossible, but nothing's impossible, right? You get all the stuff. How do you write impossible? It's got to be impossible, right? All that type of stuff. I get it, but I'm a big fan of, right. So Stephen Kotler, and he's the researcher that
Hmm. I know
wrote
Steven Cutler is.
Rise
Yeah.
Superman, and for the audience, right? Rise Superman, Stealing Fire. Right. One of the things that he does, he studies peak performance. And I remember in a course that I took of his, one of the things he talked about was the Goldilocks zone, and how like they've studied goal setting. And for people that set goals, if you set a goal that's too easy, you're not gonna go after it because
Right.
your brain's like, that's a waste of energy. We ain't gonna get nothing for it. If you set a goal that's too hard, similar response. Again, you're gaslighting yourself. Your brain knows that you ain't serious about that. It's like, yeah, okay, right, and so you don't go for it. But they found the sweet spot are things that are like 1% to 4% harder or more difficult than what you've done before in the past. So it's not 10, 20, 40% better, but it's just harder than what you've done in the past. So, for example, this is the key thing that you got to think about. If you've had 50% growth before in your company, then shooting for 50% growth again is not something that's extremely difficult for you. But shooting for 54% growth is something that might be daunting, right? And who else? So 10 10x is easier than 2x. One of the
Hmm.
first things that Dan Sullivan and
Dr.
Benjamin
Ben
Hardy
Hardy.
do
Yeah.
in that book is they have you go back and look at all the times that you've done 10x in your life before. Why do they do that? Because if you didn't believe that 10x was possible, you would never follow through with any of the stuff they're talking about. So anyway, that's the long-winded way of saying I believe that achievable goals should always be the standard, but the level of achievability is contextual, it's relative because you have to be able to look back over your life and look at the different quantum jumps that you've made before you start deciding what's possible.
Yeah. And here is my response, y'all. I now have a cape. I have a cape that I believe that I can just do anything. So I take this approach, right? And I don't even want to argue with anybody about it. I just go, okay, let's do it. And I go, I realize that this is an impossible goal and I'm no good. Right. And I was listening to a podcast. A guy says this is how he starts all of his businesses. This is the dumbest idea. I'm not going to be able to do this. And he says every single day, I try to get better. I try to make it. So I ask AI now, I'll say, this is an impossible goal, but I need you to look across industries. I need you to look across niches. I need you to look across because it's so powerful in pulling in stuff that we would not even have considered. And I
Mhm.
says, now I need you to do all of that stuff. And nice long prompt and make this impossible possible. I want you to think about the AI tools that's right now available. So it has to be a AI that is real time. So it's going to be either Google 2.5, depending on when you're listening to this. It's going to be Perplexity, or it's going to be Sonnet 3.7. One of those. And then I says, all right, now remember, talk to me like I'm a fifth grader and tell me how, not if. Tell me how. Bring up all these possibilities. Well, if you did this, you did this. And you would be surprised at what it comes up with. It just gave you a cape. Now, I don't suggest going on the top of the roof and saying, "Oh, I got this cape. I think I can fly." Boom, and jumping off. That's gravity still plays. So certain things non-gravitational, I think because it's able to go out and take so much unstructured data based on the way you prompt it and bring some possibilities, some realities to you. The rest then becomes, will you do it? Will you do it? Okay, let's check this one out, Rob.
Agreed.
Business dysfunction still happens. You have made, a lot of money and, you continue to make a living and helping people understand what's going on. So let's talk a little bit about some of these. Look at this one, reoccurring communication. You have a book that talks about courageous communication. So let's take one,
Mhm.
two, three, and run through it because I want to get through all these. I don't want to make it too long for everybody, but you see what we're doing here. Rob is
Yeah.
saying, hey, this, and I'm saying that.
Mhm. I think that again, these are the types of things when you look at reoccurring communication breakdowns. Again, the beauty of AI is that AI can give you scenarios. It can give you role playing scenarios. So you can. One of the things that I teach my clients about dealing with interruptions, dealing with issues, dealing with things that come up is the more you can practice, the more you can play the game before the game, right? The
Oh,
better
love
you
that.
will
Play the
be and
game
the
before the
better
game.
prepared you are, right? AI now is an opportunity for you to get a whole bunch of reps in before you ever have to actually play the game.
Oh, that's so good.
So if you have a big presentation or you have a big, uh, a big meeting that you have to do, or whatever the case may be, you can use AI to give you reps. I remember they were talking about this last year in National Football League. So Jaden Daniels came in, and one of the things that he was doing, right, and Jaden Daniels was rookie of the year last year. He
Washington.
took Washington Commanders to the NFC Championship game, and they, you know, um, played pretty well. One of the things they said that he did in his practice regimen is he had a VR headset where
Yeah,
he
I
would
remember that.
actually
That is
practice
so good.
and especially the hard stuff in the league so that the game could slow down for him. And the science behind this is already out there. Like your brain does not know the difference between dream and reality, right? It's the reason why when you're asleep and you fall in your dream, you kind of wake and shake and wake yourself up. That's because your body, your brain doesn't know that you're dreaming. It feels like it's real,
Hmm.
right? And so when you think about the communication breakdowns that happen, just imagine if you spent some of the time just doing role plays. Just hey, I'm about to have this meeting with my boss where I'm gonna ask for a raise. Let's go ahead and put some stuff together and do some trial runs, right?
That's
I'm a big fan. I think it's awesome in all these different areas.
yeah. So now everybody, if you're thinking about it, it says, okay, understanding business dysfunction and then kind of running ahead of it with your AI in hand. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to, right? You're going to have, oh, I anticipated that because AI kind of let me know that that could occur. And now we have a chance to just kind of take a look at some of these potential breakdowns, the things that cause dysfunction. Now, back in the day, we used to do this fishbone or fishbone diagrams,
Mhm.
right? And kind of look at stuff that could happen and try to get ahead of it. So now we have a chance to just like in this case, we're taking visual stuff and just running through it and saying, use your AI, put it all in and says, here's where I think the landmines are gonna be. Tell me how to protect myself so my legs don't get blown off. And the legs being metaphor for whatever you're trying to do. All right, that's good. That's good. All right. Remember this one. You love talking about the cash flow quadrant explained.
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you just take it, man. We're gonna run through all of these as quickly as we possibly can because y'all should be able to hear this and say, God, dog it, man. I'm glad I stayed because we got a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
more.
Yeah, you all know, and you all have heard me talk about this a number of times. This is the visual, right? Between being an employee versus an owner, and basically between having active income versus passive income. Now, the whole key is when you're working a job, you are trading time for dollars, right? Now, the biggest thing that you want to look at is when we look at business, there's small business, there's big business, and then you got investing in stocks. I think the biggest key is that you see down there at the passive side of passive income, you got investing in stocks, you got owning rental properties. Those are the ways that your money is making money for you, right? That's a big key.
I'm gonna add an extra one, y'all. So, and Rob and I are probably gonna put this out as a webinar, not just something that we give away. I think we're gonna go ahead and make this something that we'll trade from something, right? Because we're gonna get into it. But look at this. There's nothing wrong with this, okay? But we want to leverage it. Now, one of the programs that I run and one of the things that I talk about is, how I call it, how do you flip this gig, right? And I used to, talk to a lot of people coming out of incarceration situations, you know, with a nonprofit that I worked for back in the day. And I would say flip, and they knew exactly what I meant. Right? Y'all get it? All right. So depending on who you are, you flip this gig. So you are taking the job and you are leveraging it to put it into here. Right? So you say, okay, I got a little business, and then that's going to help with the taxation part of it. I am not a tax attorney, so I want to talk to your person about that. But my point is that now you put it into something that's going to give you some relief when it comes tax time. And y'all hearing it. Then you say, well, this rental opportunity gives me a very specific kind of relief. I can do it to help blunt how much money I'm making here because of the fact that you own rental property in a very specific way, especially if you're running it yourself. And then when I get over into vesting stocks, your taxation on the fact that you are making money for owning money is different. Now, here comes the extra one. Again, you see what we're doing. We're pulling out some of the things, we're dropping some of the gold on the floor, and we hope that you're able to pick it up. If you need any extra help, we'll be more than happy to come on and help you weld on the stuff, bolt on where the bolts are. But here's the next one. I want you to think about what your job looks like if you hired you. So you're running your business, but you hired you and you're paying yourself. It's something I kind of gleaned from Myron Golden. He says, I pay myself a lot. Whether you're doing it at the end or whatever it is. Now, I am an employee of the business. Now, here's the psychological thing there. We're so used to and trained to work for others that the idea, I own my own company. How do I pay myself? It's like playing tennis without a net. So we say, oh, no, I work for this company. People say, who you work for? And you be like, it's my own company. I dividend myself out. And then I work the whole year. I don't give myself a paycheck, whatever it is. But the other one that I wanted to add, Rob, is I want you to think about what else could you invest in. Now, this is digital real estate. I literally was doing a consulting with a guy yesterday, and it was consultation for coffee, basically. And he bought me a lot of coffee because I dropped gold on him. I'm gonna give it to y'all today. Digital real estate and online properties. You can literally do the same thing. You spin up a website, you spin up a webinar, you spin up a newsletter, you spin up a blog, whatever it is, and it gets popular because you're going to be doing all the things necessary. You don't have to clean no toilets. You don't have to come over and fix no toilets because it's online plumbing. You hear me? Different conversation. But creating some digital real estate puts you in this position here, and you can look at it at some point and ask yourself a question. Is it better than investing in stocks based on the return that I get? There are certain ones that I own, y'all. I'm getting 90% returns. 90% because I build it once and it pays me for 90% return. And a lot of the expense is maybe I got somebody running an email or something like that. Okay. Are y'all with? If you stayed to this far, we told you we was gonna drop some gold on you. Stay to the end. We have more. Rob, let's run through these real quick. Here's another one. Let's counter all of this and ask the question: why should we even keep our job? I think I kind of gave y'all a hint earlier.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I would say on that one again is having been the person that that started a business, quitting their job, unless you already have a defined market and defined um, revenue stream that takes over your job plus 30%, then realize that you can build while you still have everything there.
Yeah.
That I think is a very important thing. Right. Unless you wanted to burn the boats, people. And if you need that motivation, then by all means do your thing. But for everybody else, build it,
Yep.
make you quit.
I tell you, man, I got all of my degrees while working a job. They paid for it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a, and I still had to get some loans, but that ain't the point. They paid for all of them while I was working a job. Now, was it a haul and a lift and all of that? Yes. But remember, if you're out there and you're thirsty and you're hungry and
Mhm.
and customers can smell it, you lose. You lose. So having a job sometimes just allows you to have some money that's going to pay the bills, that's going to take
Yep.
care of a couple of things. But again, like we talked about earlier, making sure that this is a job that then has a job. Y'all heard us talk about this before, or you've heard this before. Give your job a job. What is it? To invest in this business so that you can do what? Invest in more businesses. Y'all see that circular? That's why I want you thinking about all the simple, all the time. But
Mhm.
okay, we have to think about this AI approach and how it helps us simplify the business. Y'all see this? It's all connected. So, Rob, talk to us about how we can use very specific AIs, or maybe something that you're using right now that has helped you streamline your operations, reduce some complexity, obviously, and enhance productivity.
No, I got you. And like I said, I think that for those of you all that are out there, there's a number of different AI platforms and things that you can use. Something simple, ChatGPT, everybody can get access to it, everybody can use it. I think that it's really important for you to use it in looking at how can you reduce the number of steps that it takes to do something. How can you, right? You can go through and literally lay out, here's how we accomplish XYZ. Where can we eliminate steps and still maintain the same level of quality and have it do some of the thinking for you and it can give you different ideas, different options, right? It can help you think. That's one of the coolest things that it can do. And then you can go do the work.
That part. Now, I want you out there using something like Amino's AI. I want you using ManyChat, right? For your social media stuff. I want you out there also thinking about how you can take, I want you out there also thinking about how you can take, um, and look, Rob's got to get out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and get him out of here. What we're going to do, everybody, I'm going to finish this sentence and then we're going to jump off. But if you want us to do the rest of it, then we'll do a part two of this. If you want it. So we're gonna leave enough information for you to put some stuff in the links and stuff like that, so you can say, yeah, man, send us the rest because you can see I got some more here. But I want you using these specific tools so that you can streamline this operation. So if people come onto your site, you've got an AI that takes all the information, a AI that sends people or from your social media pages into your links of what to do next. I want you using funnels, and we'll leave all this information for you. If we get it, if you guys say you want us to do more of this, we'll give you the inside dope. All right. So, two business guys, we are building a community here, y'all. All right. But we want you to also come into the Two Business Guys membership program. We're going to be launching that pretty soon. We're gonna put a grandfather or grandmama in price on it. Every
Mhm.
single, we will be giving you the inside stuff, not just what you're hearing here. The Two Business Guys membership program. We got within that the Two Business Guys coaching program, whatever. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later. Everybody, you have a good day. Hopefully, this stuff you can use right now. Tell us how you did it. Put it in the comments. Send us emails, whatever you need to do. But we will see you on the next one.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right, we'll see y'all later.